I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, virtues of the masters, mercy of our grand predecessors, and transmitters, and every one of you for giving me this opportunity to learn to speak in today's class on temple proprieties. So we all know up to today that temple proprieties are very, very important for us to learn and to follow in the temple before we can return to heaven. Okay, so our holy teacher says, only when the temple regulations and etiquette are well performed can the Tao society be steady, stable, and there can be a real development and expansion. If the temple regulations and etiquette are not performed properly, they will be just an illusion. So even though you are currently doing very well with Tao propagation, there will be the danger that it may collapse at any time. Maybe you will not see it clearly in a year or two. However, good achievements or bad effects will become clear after 10 or 20 years. The more you follow the temple regulations and etiquette, the wider our Tao propagation would spread. The more we are sincere, the more willing to propagate the Tao, to sacrifice ourselves and contribute to Tao, the bigger and more frequent the help and signs from heaven and the Buddhas would be. Do not be afraid of difficulty. Just perform your basic duty well. Heaven will guide us and show us a bright way. Johnny, is the recording on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So when we first enter the temple, okay, someone is always in the front to greet us, right? In the old days, we used a towel. But today, because there's so many people now, instead of changing the water after every 6 person and wasting the water, we're using what? Hand sanitizers. So the purpose of cleaning our hand is not just to clean our hand. The main purpose is so we can come into this temple, okay, and leave the problems and the worries that we have in this mundane world outside. We come into this temple with a clear mind, okay, and we will wholeheartedly and attentively pay attention to this class. Okay, so that is the whole meaning of cleaning our hands. So after we clean our hands, what do? We go and put away our bag and our jackets or whatever. And then the first thing we should do is to proceed to the small temple and do our arrival prayer. The true meaning of arrival prayer is like, let's say when someone invites us over for dinner or to their home, and when we enter, the first thing we would do is to say hello to the host and the hostess, right? This is the same meaning. When we come into God's home, which is the temple, the first thing we should do is to say hello to God and all the saints and Buddha and say, I'm here now. Okay, that is the true meaning. Okay, and also when we leave the temple, we do the departure prayer, but it is incorporated in the after class kato, so we don't have to do it separately. Okay, and it's the same meaning to say goodbye to God and the saints and Buddha and say we are leaving now. Okay, this is the arrival and departure propriety. So let's take a look at this sheet. Who doesn't have a copy so far? Raise your hand if you need a copy. Okay, so, yeah. Who needs a copy? Raise your hand. Okay. So if we look at the paper, the top, okay, there's the Chinese characters, okay? If we don't know how to read Chinese character, it's okay. So there's a Chinese character. Above the Chinese character is what we call the pinyin, the correct pronunciation of the Chinese characters, okay? Underneath the Chinese character is the translation of what the characters mean. Okay. So on the left side of the paper is the primary announcer that is announcing who we bow to. After that is the secondary announcer, who is the person on the left side of the altar doing the counting. Okay. So this is very important that we all memorize in Chinese, not the translation, in Chinese. Because when we come into the temple, we all have to know how to do it ourselves. In the beginning, somebody can help you, but someone cannot help us for 5 years, 10 years, okay? What if one day we leave this physical realm and go back to heaven, and we don't know how to do it? There's no one to teach us up there. The Buddhas are not going to teach us, okay? And it will be more difficult for us because we no longer have this human physical form, okay? Our spirit will be what? Rolling over and over, turning, because there's no physical form. So that is why it is very important we all memorize this. Heaven does it this way, we have to learn it this way. Even the Buddhas, when they come channel down, okay, I have seen Jigong Buddha in Transmitter Ray's temple where he channeled down. I was upstairs, he channeled down. I saw him immediately entering into the temple and do this. Okay, so if the Buddhists have to do it, we have to do it. All right? So that's why it is very important we all learn this. So let's go line by line, make sure we all know how to pronounce this. It's okay if you don't learn today. I am here at 8 in the morning every Sunday. If you guys or anybody need help, I can help you the first hour in the morning. Okay? So it's okay, but let's just review every line. So we're gonna, the top line is just the primary announcer and the secondary announcer. We don't need to know that. But underneath that, starting with 座仪, okay, above the Chinese character is the pinyin 座仪, where it says underneath full standing bow with hands clasped, kneel. Okay, 坐仪跪. So when you hear that, it means to 坐仪跪. Before we kneel down, okay, we have to have that standing bow, remember? Hand holding the covenant, starting from the first treasure down to the knee, back to the first treasure, release your hand. That is 坐仪, okay, and then we kneel. Then after that is, if everybody can follow me, I'm going to do it slowly. Ming, Ming, Sang, Di. Okay. You can also repeat it if you want to. Ming, Ming, Sang, Di. And then in the middle of the page is Wu Ke Shou. That means 5 bows. Okay. So above the Chinese character says Wu Ke Shou. Right? And then to count is Yi Kou, Zai Kou, San Kou, Si Kou, Wu Ke Shou. So in the temple, we don't say Yi Kou, Kou. Okay. So 1 to 5 is Yi, The second is but we don't say Kou. We say Yi Kou, Zai Kou. That means again bow. Got it? That is the actual meaning. Again bow. But in the counting is Yi Kou, Zai Kou, San Kou, Si Kou, Wu Ke Shou. At the end of the 5 bow is Wu Ke Shou. Okay? Is everybody following me? Okay, good. Then the next, that is of course our supreme being God. Okay, so we always bow to God first. After that is 诸天神圣三颗手 诸天神圣三颗手，一叩再叩三颗手。That means all the Buddhas and saints in heaven. After that is 弥勒祖师三颗手，一叩再叩三颗手。弥勒祖师 is our Maitreya Happy Buddha with the big belly in the center of the altar. Then after that is 南海古佛一个手。That is our Guanyin Bodhisattva. Okay, also promoted to the title of Buddha of the Southern Sea. So when it's 一个手, you just say 一个手. Then after that is 活佛师尊一个手. That is our holy teacher Jigong Buddha on the right side of the altar. Then is 月慧菩萨一个手. That is the female holy teacher on facing the altar on the left side of us. Okay, that's our female holy teacher. Her translation is Bodhisattva of Moon and Wisdom. Then 师尊一个手. Shi Zun is our 18th patriarch in the small temple. His statue is on the top level, the right side, not the center. The center is our 17th patriarch. The right side is Shi Zun, which is our 18th patriarch. 师母一个手. Sư Mu is our female Maitreya, okay, who is the 18th matriarch. Her statue is on the upper level in the small temple on the left side. Then 点传师一个手. That is our transmitting master. Today we have transmitter Jin. Okay, he is our transmitter for today because all the other transmitters had gone to out of state for the Dharma classes. We have a total of 6 transmitters. Is it 6? Yeah, 6 transmitters. Okay, we have our senior transmitter Jin, our junior transmitter Jin. Okay, then we have transmitter Jen in California. Those are, and then we have transmitter Ling in Texas. Those are the male transmitters. Okay. Then we have 2 female transmitters, who is transmitter Rong and transmitter Law, who is now mostly in California, San Diego. Okay. Then we have Ying Bao Si. This is our sponsor and guarantor, or introducer and guarantor, that brought us into the temple. Never forget our introducer and guarantor. Okay. That's why we have to give them a bow. 前贤大众. 前贤大众 means all virtuous ones present. And that is everybody that is present in the temple is considered 前贤大众. Okay, that's 一个手, 1 bow. And then after that is Qi. Then after we did all that, we rise, Qi, 坐一 again, okay? And then we kneel 1 more time because we have to give the transmitters present in the temple at that time 1 bow. So we say 向各位点传师参加, or in the bracket is 辞驾 means departure. So out of the bracket is 参加, okay, 一个手. So that means that 1 bow is to all the transmitter that is present in the temple at that moment, okay? Then 起 is to rise, 坐一 full standing bow, and then after that is you say to yourself 参加 or 辞驾礼毕. Hands at side 放手鞠躬, 1 more bow. Okay? So if you need help, let me know. I'm here 8 o'clock in the morning every Sunday, so that's the time that I can help you for an hour. Any questions? Yes.
So when you say 参结驾?
No. When you 参加 is 参加. Oh, 接驾 is something else which I'm going to go through right now. Okay. Before I'm going to go through that, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. See? 参加 is when the transmitter is present in the temple before we come in. That is 参加. Okay. Second one, 持驾 is when the transmitter is present in the temple and we are leaving first. So we are departing. So that is 持驾. Okay. Then the third one, 接驾 is when the transmitter is not present in the temple. We come in first. And then he or she comes after we come in. Then we all must go to the altar, 做仪柜, 做仪钮, 向点传师接驾, one back. And then we proceed to the transmitter that just came in and say, okay, if you have trouble speaking in Chinese, you can say, good morning transmitter. Okay, if you have trouble speaking, 接驾 or 参加. Okay, if the last one is 送驾 is when the transmitter is leaving and we are still here. See, the opposite. That is 送驾. So if we know a transmitter has to go and maybe to do a Tao receiving ceremony outside, or maybe he has something important that he has to leave first, then we all have to proceed to the altar and 做仪钮向点传师送驾一个手. And then we proceed to that transmitter that's leaving, and we say again in Chinese, 后学向点传师送驾. Okay? Not a 座仪, but just about. Okay? Any questions?
So, 接驾 is after the transmitter.
No, 接驾 is when we are here first, and the transmitter come later. Okay? So it is hard to keep track, especially so many rooms in the temple. Who comes in, what, and when? It's hard to keep track. But if we notice, oh, that transmitter just came in, I must go to the altar and 接驾. Okay? But if you don't realize and you didn't notice, it's okay, you're not at fault. But if you notice and you don't go and do it, you will get a demerit.
So isn't there a time you say both together, 参接驾?
Yeah, that just to cover the people that didn't realize that the Jian transmitter. Like today, transmitter Jin came after we, so the people in front, a few of them know, so that by the way, we have to let the transmitter do his arrival prayer, arrival propriety, before we do the 接驾. Okay? Okay, because this morning I didn't know he didn't do it yet, so I immediately go and do it, so I had to do it twice. Okay? So if you're not aware, it's okay because they do cover it after the morning koto. But when we are aware, we must do it. Okay? The same meaning for 送驾. Okay? So any other questions? Everybody understand what all these terms mean, right? Okay, good. Okay. So when we are standing, okay, and like if the females are standing on the side and the male is doing the koto, when we hear 前贤大众, 前贤大众, that means all the people that's present, okay, we must return about because they are bowing to us. We must, while standing, return about. Okay, so memorize that terminology, 前贤大众. And the same with the female. When the female is, the same with the male. When the female is doing the koto and the male is standing on the side, when you hear 前贤大众, you must return one bow. Okay? If you don't understand, it's okay. Keep your eyes alert. If you see somebody doing it, you just follow. Okay? Just because you don't understand and people are doing it and you're just standing there, that's considered a demerit. Okay? So just pay attention if other people are doing it. Then, yes.
Do we do anything different if
No, same thing. Same thing. Okay, the only difference is they may announce it before class, to welcome the transmitter. But other than that, it should be exactly the same thing. Okay, you're welcome. So I have been asked for many, many years by other Down members, why do we have to do so many bows, right? In the beginning, no one is used to it. So who are we bowing all this to, right? They always ask me, why do we have to bow so much? Okay, so the rituals or ceremonies that we do is very important in our Tao cultivation. Okay, number one, it is a way for us to self-discipline ourselves. Okay, so by us doing the bow, we are disciplining ourselves, our heart and mind, to be pure and still. Okay. The other important aspect of doing the ritual is meditation. This is not the type of meditation that one would just sit there and try not to think, okay? But this meditation is more like a form of meditation that calm our heart and mind, okay? And gives us clarity and tranquility. Then another important fact is gratitude. Those who cultivate correctly will automatically benefit naturally. And most of the time we ask the Buddhas, right, for their blessings. But by doing that, we are maintaining a grateful heart and mind for all the good things that have already come into our lives. Okay? So it will become very natural. Another important fact is that it is a time for us to do self-reflection. When we, by the way, when we kata, we should not close our eyes. Okay, no matter how tired we are, the eyes should be open. Okay, and that is the time we do our self-reflection. Okay, to reflect upon ourselves what we have been doing wrong, and for us to try to improve in our fault and to follow the way of the saints and Buddhas. Okay. Then it is also important that we have awareness. Okay. The rituals, they allow us to be aware and focus on the practice. Okay, which will then bring us closer to the Tao and the Buddhas. Then there is humility. This is a way for us to remain humble, okay, to get rid of our ego. And humility is a very high virtue, and it is very important that we have that characteristic, okay, if we want to be a good cultivator. Okay. Our holy teacher says, rules and proprieties are to help us improve and grow, which will mold us into a standard role model. When we are kowtowing, we must be sincere and use our own spiritual light to enlighten ourselves. When we kowtow, we hold an image of Buddha in our mind and imagine ourselves as the Buddha. Then this kowtow rite will be more meaningful. It's like bowing to ourselves, okay? When we kneel down and bow, we are showing respect to ourselves, our own Buddha nature. That is the actual true meaning of kowtow. So if we look at the Chinese character, Ming, this is a Chinese character, Ming. If we break it down into three parts, which is the top is Lun, the middle is Yi, the bottom is Kou, which is Lun Yi Kou. That means a person makes one bow. Okay, so this Ming, that refers to our life, right? So our life means that a person makes one bow. So when we are kowtowing, we are telling ourselves that we have to self-reflect. And our holy teacher says everybody has a Buddha nature. Therefore, when facing the Buddhas, it is just like we're looking back at our own Buddha nature. And holy teacher always also says, when you make bows to Buddhas, it is the same as humbly facing yourself and doing self-reflecting. When bowing with your hand sign, it's like you're setting an example to practice Tao in the secular world. You know how to be humble and modest. When we do the bowing ritual, we cannot rush things, nor be abrupt and reckless. It is like following Confucius' teachings of the middle way. Be sincere when you kowtow and do introspection. Stretch your muscles. Relax your head and neck. A lot of people kowtow very stiffly. Relax your head and neck. Move your hands and head together. So kowtow in Chinese is to bow our head. That's the actual translation of kowtow, is to bow head. Okay. So when we do it, we're not only bowing the hand, we gotta bow our heads. Okay. So when you touch the cushion, your head should automatically move along with it. Let your legs support the weight of your whole body. You are kneeling down and making kowtows with your head, not just moving your hands only. The translation of kowtow, I just said that. The movements and gestures of starting and ending are consistent. This is the spirit of Tao. When you kowtow, be sincere because its purpose is to nourish a mind of respect, humility, and modesty. Meanwhile, keeping a correct posture helps to relax your muscles and improve the blood circulation for better health. Isn't that wonderful? It's like an exercise for our body. Okay, so don't look at it like, oh, I can't do it. It's so many bows. It's also helping our blood circulation. Okay, so that is with kowtow. Any questions about kowtow? Okay, now we go to the cushions. So if you notice, there is 3 rows of cushions all the way down. Okay, sometimes now they add more on the sides because there's more and more people now. So who takes what cushions? Of course, the transmitters first. Okay, transmitters first. If there's 3 transmitters, the senior transmitter in the middle, the next senior transmitter on the right side, and so on and so forth. Okay. Then comes the temple host and the lecturers. Which comes first, the answer, the temple host or the lecturers? There's a question about that.
Yeah, right. As far as I understand it, it's supposed to be lectures first.
Lecturers first.
Lectures and temple hosts are seen as equal only because temple hosts have temples. You know, that's why they're temple hosts. But lectures can also have temple. You know, can also have temples in their own. So they can be both lectures and temple hosts at the same time. Whereas temple hosts are just temple hosts.
Right.
They don't have to be lecturers.
Okay. So we have 3 cushions. This is the first one. Then the right. Then the left. Then the middle. The right. The left. Okay. It's always middle, right, left. Middle, right, left. Okay. So the transmitters first, then lecturers, okay, also depending on when they took their lecturer vows, okay, in that order, right? Then the temple hosts, when they became temple hosts first, in that order. And then comes staff members. Then comes speakers. Speakers are before they became lecturers, right? Speakers after the temple hosts, then the staff members, okay? And then the new members, and then the little children. If we don't know where we're supposed to go, always stay in the back. Okay? To show our humbleness. Yes?
Should we encourage the elders, much elders?
Elders, yeah.
Right.
Elders, also seniors, okay. Let's say there are elderly people, we let them, okay, after the transmitters, okay. So a lot of lecturers will let them take the big cushions because it's easier for them to kneel. Okay. Any other questions? So let's say if it's 4 people, you would have, okay, if it's 4 people, you will have 1 person here, 1 person here. Leave the center. Let's say the transmitter is not here and you're doing the arrival propriety. You have 1 person here, 1 person here. That's 2, right? 3, 4 to make it look uniform. Not 3, 4 or 3, 4. Got it? If it's 3 people, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we leave the center for the because this transmitter is not present. Okay, so always make it uniform. So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so on and so forth. Got it?
Person.
Huh?
1 person.
1 person is always this one. Not this one. If you're the only person that's doing it, you take this cushion. Not this one, but this one. Okay?
Does it apply to the small temple?
Yeah. It's with all temples. Okay? In your home temple too. Home temple, you're not going to have a transmitter, so you take the center cushion when you 线香. Got it? Yeah, you have to take the center cushion. Okay. But
Okay.
of course, male and female do it separately. You don't do it together.
If we have 3 members in the family, it's okay to use the.
Yeah, if you have 3 members, you use top 3. If you're all the same gender, you use the top 3. Okay? If you're 2, then you use this one and this one. Because you have the 线香 in the middle. Let's say 就线香 and you are doing only 磕头, then you use these 2. Okay? To even it out. So it looks uniform. Any other questions? Okay, then following rules and regulations internally and externally. Okay, internally means that we must be in accordance with the heavenly principle, and it doesn't go against our conscience. That is internally. Everything we do, everything we say, all our thoughts must be in accordance with the principle of Tao. Okay. Externally is doing all these proprieties. Okay, and also our etiquettes. Okay. Just like Yan Hui, he is always constantly aware, embrace, and guard the Tao. Okay, Yan Hui was Confucius' devoted and sincere disciple. Okay. Then Holy Teacher says we must respect the seniors and guide the juniors. Okay. So Holy Teacher says a temple is the basic unit of the entire Tao society. If we wish to realize the ideal of the Maitreya family, where Tao pervades everywhere, in everyone's words and deeds, we need to achieve this goal in our temple first. In the temple, we have seniors and juniors. All are like members of a family, where it is very convenient to carry out ethical education. The seniors at the temple should be good models to others, and always emphasize the grace of heaven and the virtue of our holy teachers. They should also advocate the mercy and hard work of our predecessors and Tao seniors. Whatever we do, we should always remember to respect our teachers, respect and emphasize Tao, respect the aged and honor the virtuous, Follow the senior and guide the newcomers. Be respectful to the superior and love the inferior. All of these actions will help Tao members at the temple to unite harmoniously. Okay, so this is very important that we respect the seniors and guide the juniors. Okay, seniors are those that received the Tao before us. Okay, and all the transmitters are our seniors. Okay, seniors are those that are very virtuous. So we must respect, especially transmitters who has heaven's mandate. Okay. And we also have to guide all the juniors because we also are juniors. So everybody needs guidance, right? Especially the new people that just came in. They are lost. They don't know anyone. They don't know what to do. So if we spend time next to them, okay, explaining to them, it'll make them feel comfortable in coming to the temple. It'll make them more eager to learn so they can understand everything that we are talking about. So that is why it is very important we guide the juniors. Any questions? Tao ceremony. Okay. Usually the Tao ceremony is conducted before lunch and after class. So when there is a Tao ceremony, and if you want to be included in the Tao ceremony by observing, we must enter the large temple before they lock the doors, because we cannot casually go in and out as we wish. Once you enter before, you cannot leave the temple until the ceremony ends. Okay? And once the ceremony starts, we cannot go in. And the reason is when the Tao ceremony is conducted, all the saints and Buddhas are present. Okay? So we must be at our best behavior. If we are standing, observing on the side, no talking or whispering. Stand attentively, okay, and observe. No chit-chatting. Now, I notice many times when the Tao ceremony is conducted, the introducer or the guarantor is teaching the person standing on the side how to hold the covenant. That is a big no-no. Because only the transmitting master can pass that covenant to the new Tao receiving person. We cannot do that because we don't have heaven's mandate. Only the transmitter with heaven's mandate can pass that down.
After they can.
Yeah. And we cannot, even if they are receiving the ceremony, the Tao, and we're standing next to them to guide them, we cannot teach them unless the transmitter says, 引导是代传合同. That means the translation is introducer and guarantor to represent, okay, the transmitter in passing the covenant. Okay, so if the transmitter did not say that, we standing next to the person cannot teach them. Okay, because we don't have heaven's mandate. Okay. Another thing is, at the end of the ceremony, we cannot congratulate the people that just received the Tao until the transmitter congratulates. We have to control ourselves. Okay? Don't open your big mouth and say, congratulations, right? Control ourselves. Let the transmitter congratulate first. Then we follow congratulations. Okay? Understand, right? Okay. So now we talk about the number 6, 3 treasures. When the 3 treasures are being conducted, okay, I always remember in model of purification that is transmitted Jin's mother when she was still with us, in those days, she used to tell me, whenever there's a three treasure being conducted, you go and listen, even though you've listened to the same person 10 times, okay? Because you can pick up something new from each person and every different time. All right, just sit down and listen. You can learn from each other, because one day we all have to talk about the three treasures to others. So that is why when there's a three treasure being conducted, we should sit down and listen. Now, if the three treasure is in the temple, in small temple or in a large temple, we must maintain quietness. Because I used to do it in the small temple, and there's always a group of people chit-chatting by the bookcases. They get louder and louder and louder, and they laugh so loud. The people, they were like a group of people. The group of people listening, they all turn that way. They're not listening to me. They all turn and listen to why they're laughing. Okay? That's not good. We're earning demerits. So when the three treasures are being conducted, we must be quiet, lower our tone of voice. If we have to laugh, laugh softly, okay? Just be at our best behavior, because there's still Buddhas around. Any questions? Okay, try. The holy teacher did say if there's three treasures in the small temple, try not to walk through that room. You can go through that room and out the other door. All right, try not to walk through that room, because you're disrupting the people there. Now, I forgot to mention something else. Let's say we bring somebody new to the temple. They did not agree to receive the Tao. It is our responsibility as the introducer and the guarantor to accompany them, and make sure they feel comfortable. Maybe next time they are willing to come again, and make sure they are not inside watching the ceremony, nor listening to the three treasures. Okay, we must be next to the person we bring in. Okay? Even if they receive the blessing, we still should be next to them to make them feel comfortable. They don't know anybody else. They feel lost. Okay? This is all part of etiquette. Yes,
So
Gary.
if they are of the opposite sex, introduce them to someone.
No, you can still, you don't have to sit next to them,
Oh,
You
that's fine.
leave a seat in the middle.
Okay.
Okay? So you still have to accompany them. Don't just give somebody else the responsibility. Okay? So sometimes we're all humans, everybody has problems. So if we have a problem that is beyond humans' help, no one can help us, like a severe medical condition, like cancer, not headaches or stomach aches, okay, like a severe illness, or maybe we have some other real big problems that we cannot handle. A lot of times we can kowtow to the Buddhas for help. So let's say we want to kowtow for the Buddhas. You have to remember, if everybody is doing it in the whole temple with us, that strength and the power of everybody's bowing is more effective than if we do it alone. So how can we get everybody to help us kowtow? First, we go to the director in charge. Every month is a different director in charge. Okay, this month is lecturer Lu. Okay, we will approach him and ask him to help us kowtow. Okay, the best is to tell them what the problem is. But if it is so personal, you don't want to share what your personal problem is, then you don't have to share, okay? Then he will go to the transmitter in charge, okay? And will then go to senior transmitter Jin, who will lead everybody into the koto. The reason why it's better to tell why is number one, transmitter can speak on our behalf to explain to the Buddhas what is wrong. Okay? So everybody can koto for us. We don't go directly to senior transmitter Jin. We go to the director in charge. That's the proper way to do it. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So when other people are doing the koto, let's say we are in the small temple or the big temple, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden somebody went to the altar and do the koto, we must stand up. When they are doing the koto, we cannot sit down. Okay, respect for the Buddhas. When a transmitter is entering a room and we are sitting down, we should also, when a transmitter is entering and we are sitting down, we should stand up. Unless he says, no, sit down. Or unless he sits down or she sits down, then we sit down. Respect for the mandate.
There was an exception over there because they always walk in and walk out of the room.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I notice, I usually stand up, but if the transmitter is walking by, then after he walks by, then I sit down. Okay. So this is the proper etiquette in the temple. Okay. Any questions? Lunch. So when it's lunch, we try to eat our lunch very quietly, no chit-chatting, or try to limit the chit-chat to a very soft tone. Okay. When we lining up to get our food, please do not speak around the food. Just quietly get the food. And use the common ladle. Do not use our own utensils, especially after we already ate from our utensil. Nobody needs to eat our saliva. Okay. And the food is already tasty. You don't need to add more flavor. Okay. Especially when the mouth is full of food and you start to speak over the food. How disgusting that is. Okay? So make sure we don't talk in front. And afterwards, we all quietly go sit down. Wait until everybody gets their food first before we start, because we must say grace before we eat. Okay? So when we say grace, we raise our food to our first treasure. We thank the grace of heaven, virtues of masters. We thank the cooks that prepare our lunch. We ask the transmitters to start, and we ask everybody to start. Now, saying grace is only for vegetarian food. It is not only in the temple. It's also vegetarian food when we're eating at home. But when we're eating at home, there's no transmitters around, so we don't have to ask the transmitters to start.
But can you still say it?
Yeah, I say 感谢天人师的，感谢. I always say 感谢农夫, which is the farmer, because Holy Teacher says we never thank the farmers. And today, the temple still don't thank the farmers. But I personally always thank my farmers. Okay. Without the farmers, we won't have all these wonderful vegetables to eat. Okay? And you thank the cooks, whoever the cook is at home. If it's yourself, you don't have to thank the cook. Okay? But I also do it at home. But if we're eating non-vegetarian, we do not have to do that. Okay? I'm running over time, so I'm going to end it here. I never finished this class. Okay, so if I have said anything wrong, I did not cover this topic well enough, I ask God and all the saints and Buddhas for their forgiveness. Okay.